Well, hello everyone again. My name is Aaron Franco, and I am the communications specialist for Pacific Ocean Energy Trust, POET, which administers the TEAMER program, Testing, Expertise, and Access to Marine Energy Research, which is uh, a program operated by POET and sponsored and overseen by the U.S. Department of Energy's Hydropower and Hydrokinetics Office. Today we're here to let you hear from some of our commercialization facilities. Commercialization is a support category that was added in our last round of requests for support. And it's for marine energy developers or researchers who are looking to get some help on the business side of their marine energy development. So we have 5 presenters on our program today. First, we'll be hearing from John Bonanno from Factor, then Jerry Cronin from the OpenSeas Technology Innovation Hub at Old Dominion University. Next up will be Tom Pavilon from Yet2, Cameron Fisher from Environmental Science Associates, and Jesse Flanagan from VentureWell. All of these folks are representatives of facilities in the TEAMER facility network that can offer commercialization support services to you. I will let them tell you all about what their individual organizations offer. You can also check out our website, teamer-us.org, to learn about all of our commercialization facilities or anything else about the program, how to apply, any due dates for applications, rules and regulations for applying. But for now, I think I'd like to turn it over to our presenters. So,
my name is Robert Eckard. I am with Factor. I'm a partner at Factor. John Bonanno, who was originally going to be handling this call or this presentation, is the managing partner here at Factor. He and I kind of put the team together a few years back. He and I have both have extensive history and experience across the industry. We can get into that in a little bit. But the reason that we're here today is we are on the consultant list as folks that you can reach out to and leverage as part of the TEAMER kind of process here. And so we'll talk a little bit about our background and what we do, how we can help you, and where we can hopefully go together. So June, I'll take the next slide. So we have a lot of, we've got a lot of experience working across clean tech in a variety of areas and services that we support. One of those kind of key categories is marine energy. I've worked to support a development up in Washington State in the blue economy, helped to found and support the development of, support development of Washington Maritime Blue, which is kind of a commercialization targeted organization that supports blue economy up there. John also has kind of extensive industry experience working across marine energy. Why are we here, right? We're really working to come in and help support clean economy, clean energy, and development. So, I'll give a little bit of his history in his absence. So he was present at the 9/11 tragedy back in 2001, and I think that experience was really a turning point for him, and he took a move in his career and decided that he really wanted to work on defunding violence, reducing chauvinism, just getting out of the fossil economy and helping our world and our country to get out of the fossil economy. I've been working in that sector for my entire career as well. And so what we're really trying to do is help support startups and kind of mid-stage companies in that process of working to expand and develop novel technologies that will help us get out of the fossil economy, hopefully for good. So that's our why and our background. Let's go on to the next slide, June, if you would. So we like to think of ourselves not so much as consultants, but as executive advisors. We work to support your team. We do work with a lot of startups and, as I said, mid-stage companies. We are really very familiar, maybe uniquely familiar with the challenges and opportunities that early to mid-stage startups face. Is that being transitioning from kind of the development phase to the execution and ramp up and commercialization phase. How do we change our teams? How do you start to develop your business in a way that starts to bring in revenue? And so we work to leverage that across a variety, a few different verticals here that we can talk about. But our purpose is, we try to not be just a consultant that you bring in and have do a task and then we disappear. We try to really work to leverage our background and our connections across the industry to help you grow and to help you develop your team and move your teams forward. So go ahead into the next slide, please, June. So there I am, Dr. Robert Eckard. John Bonanno is kind of our managing partner. We also have Ramsey and Jake, and they support kind of commercialization oriented and development oriented aspects of our team. I support the non-dilutive capital, which is grant funding. And then, Jake supports, so Ramsey's specifically on commercialization. Jake is on dilutive, which is, like equity capital. And Andrew supports like graphic design and he helped put together some of the background for the slide deck, for example. So let's go on to the next one. Our key, I started to mention these, our key kind of areas where we can support is capital access, finance leadership, and that brand and design. So, I mentioned our reach and expertise in the industry. John was co-founder at Principal Power and at WindFloat. I've been involved from the PNNL side in this program previously, but also in some other programs looking to support ocean energy. And so, our stack here, our lineup really focuses on these areas of helping your team to find the money that it needs to grow and expand, helping to develop your team internally, both personally and also find resources that you may need to expand and to grow. And then we can help with your branding and design as well. To date, our team has won over $1 billion in grant funded capital. And multiply that by probably 1.8 for a total amount of project amounts. And we're also have deep experience on that finance side as well. Under this opportunity, we have up to $200,000. The TEAMER's voucher program, it's open now, and you can retain our team for a voucher of up to $200K to support these categories. So go ahead, next slide, please. So I already went over a little bit of this. 150, probably actually more than that, grant applications that have been won, over 1 billion grants won. We have about 75 million kind of in process on our capital formation. Lots of capital back in our background. And I would say our performance has really shown through in terms of how we can support these types of teams. So go ahead, Jane, with the next slide. So this is just kind of highlighting some of our current clients. The top left there is a battery developer and Zinc. The middle is Noon, which is another energy storage company. We support fusion systems. We have offshore wind type systems that we work on. And so I think frankly, this is John's slide. I don't know what the bottom right one is, and there's a couple of these I don't know. But in general, we have experience across a wide array of industries, including offshore and ocean energy. I think the main benefit that leads for folks listening on the call here is that, you know, when we're trying to put together commercialization strategies, when we're trying to put together funding packages, be that capital funding or you know, project finance or grant funding or equity, you know, we have a really good baseline and partnership opportunities available through our extended network. You know, we can help you find sites for initial deployments. We can help you find partnerships that you might need to support project development. And those are really built through a long-term kind of trust development process. Go ahead, June. Again, I think John likes to remind folks that you know, this is a great opportunity for you to jump in and have up to 200K, where we can leverage that money to support your process and your development. And I think, you know, we have a really good opportunity to provide to help you get a little bit more runway, leverage those dollars perhaps for additional funding, leverage those dollars for development of you know, new ways to look at your commercialization strategy, at your development process, at what comes next. So we're really here to help you grow. We're here to help you invest in your own team and develop and expand your own team so that you can come out through this process with some success. So at that, I'll leave just a second here for any questions that you may have. If you want to reach out to us, there's that hello@factor.eco. Our emails are also easy to remember. You know, I'm Robert, and I'm Robert@factor.eco. John is John@factor.eco, and so forth. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. But I'll open the floor, I guess, if we have a minute or two left, if anybody has anything that they want to bring up.
Well, Robert and June, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to present. Good talking with you all, and take care. Hope to chat with some of you in the future. Thank you.
Next up, we're going to turn to Jerry Cronin from the OpenSeas Technology Innovation Hub at Old Dominion University. Jerry, if you'd like to introduce yourself and take it away.
Super. Jerry Cronin. I run the OpenSeas Technology Innovation Hub, and we're based out of a university in Norfolk, Virginia, which is in Hampton Roads, middle of the Atlantic coast. Just a quick rundown of who we are, how we look at things, and how we approach things. Because one of the things that's important is basically you're trying to match up with folks who are going in the direction you want to do, that you get along with, that you're kind of simpatico. So I'm going to go through, you know, the way we think about things. Who we are not totally focused on energy. We are a broad maritime innovation hub that's based upon our location. We're in the middle of the world's largest Navy base, Huntington Ingalls Underwater Vehicle, Autonomous Vehicle Center of Excellence, one of the major ports on the East Coast, a lot of ocean data stuff, and we've got the largest wind field in the US under construction off our field right now with Dominion Energy. So I would say from an energy standpoint, although we do deal with some of that in offshore renewable energy and do quite a bit of it, we also deal quite a bit with the folks who I'd call the end users. So that gives us a pretty good perspective on where some of this stuff is going to be headed, and will enable us to work with people better as they look for the, you know, what's really important in the marine renewable energy field, which is there need to be more pilots out there. There's a dearth of them. So if we want acceptance in this industry, we gotta break into that and find people who are willing to step forward and use it. This is just a general poet TEAMER slide. I'm assuming, Aaron, everybody's going to get a copy of these slides, so I won't go heavy duty into it. but if you look at the types of things we do, it's the spectrum. I'm dealing with everybody with ideas on the back of an envelope for doing ocean sensing off buoys, to folks who've been through a couple of rounds. And my bench, my team, has experience in the whole run, everything from helping people figuring out, is there a market, is there a value proposition, all the way to folks who have taken multiple companies, either public or up through M&A type activities. Some of the things we've done in the past, where we've been doing commercialization mentoring now for DOE for the past few years. We've just finished up a marketing commercialization analysis related to marine renewable energy, which has an awful lot of interesting results, I think, as to the state of the business. And do a lot of work for folks like Dominion Energy and also NADA. Where this comes into play is if you look at the funding streams for things, dual use is an important consideration as we're going forward with all of this. And I am a walk down the block from the Navy's Tech Bridge, which is looking at alternate energy sources for powering some of the things that the military is interested in. Just some key thoughts, and this is philosophy stuff. I deal a lot with folks on the outside, but I also deal with some professors, and a lot of these things come out of the university labs. Working commercialization in from the beginning, particularly what market are you going after and what the value propositions are. I find a lot of people that tend to define their markets extremely broadly. Well, you can't sell to an extremely broad market. You have to figure out where your beachhead is and where you're going to start. And it's going to help you even if you're a researcher. If you're going forward to get research funding, more and more folks are asking, what's your plan for getting this out into market? So not only could you potentially form a company, but it's going to help you advance the technology. Some other key thoughts, and most folks follow some order of this. Really helping you find a target market. Your market's not the entire world. And then the whole notion of differential value. In the marine renewable energy space, your competition, at least my assessment of it right now, is not folks in the same space doing things a little bit different. It's trying to get these technologies out into the world. And that happens when you're creating differential value that you can prove that's substantially better than what's being done right now. Returns on investment are important, a solid business model and a solid operating plan. And then working with folks on their revenue model and funding plan. And one of the things we're observing in this is not everything in this world is VC. Fits the thesis of venture capitalists. So to really seriously go about this, you have to figure out what's appropriate to your particular market, your technology readiness level, and your business stage. So I heard the talk before about dilutive and non-dilutive funding. That whole funding stack needs to come into play with this. And the notion of helping people through minimal viable product launches and pilots, all the way up through the target market. We've got to iterate through those things and have clear expectations that, for example, I was talking to the guys at Dominion Energy who run their alternative energy stuff. They're not going to go right to grid scale power, for example. They're going to want to see a lot of stuff that happens early on in the pilot phases and things along those lines before they'll even bring it up on their radar. So helping people work through those kind of issues. And then the whole notion of talking people into pivots. We hardly work with anybody who doesn't kind of vary their thinking from when they started to when they actually try to make it happen. Pivots are a normal part of life. How we engage with folks. We're seeing ourselves as augmenting your team. We're in there, we grab an oar, we row with you, but we also see these engagements, our approach is to look at them as multi-phase processes. To us, it really doesn't make sense to, go hard after the funding stack until you figure out what market you're going for. Sometimes that works. It used to work more in the past, but that's not the case now. Folks want to see traction. So it just, the nice thing about TEAMER is it's every 4 months. So you can break these things down into gated multi-phase processes that enable you to solidify where you are as you progress forward with the opportunity. Because honestly, nobody's clairvoyant. Assuming you're going to pivot, 8 months from now, you could be someplace totally different from what you thought at the beginning. So trying to price that in at the beginning is hard. So we tend to look at things in phases. And like I said before, we put together a team with resources who look across the entire spectrum from upfront to to the point where you're trying to get market, technology stage, and business model appropriate capital from somewhere. And lastly, we'll point you somewhere else if it makes sense. We're not tied to a VC. We're not tied to any particular funds. So we don't look at these things as a capture activity, where, we got to get our arms around you so much, as we're really trying to help you bring something out to the world to bring sustained value. So engaging us, on the front slide of this, it has my contact information. Schedule the discussion, and we'll kind of talk and baseline where you are in your efforts and discuss ways forward in your journey and provide recommendations. And if it makes sense to engage on a team around, we'll agree on mutual scopes of work, provide you with material for the application and assist in the application process. We like to see new things get out into the world, and as was pointed out before, a lot of these technologies will solve important problems, but it's going to take quite a bit of work to get them out there and get more pilots out there and get more deployments out there, because there's not a whole heck of a lot of them right now. So we're trying to up that number. So with that, that's who we are. Kind of quick. Questions at the end, I assume, Aaron, or whenever, but that's who we are.
We've got some time now. If you have questions specific for Jerry or OpenSeas, feel free to raise your hand or use the chat. I did like what you said, Jerry, about you don't have to go straight to grid scale. That's not how it works.
No. Let me tell you, you're not going to go straight to grid scale. To go to grid scale, you have to have Det Norsk Veritas, the American Bureau of Shipping, or Lloyd's willing to certify your engineering design is going to last 30 years. We don't have that data yet, so it's got to start. It's got to start smaller. And it's some of the VC guys talk about they made grid scale investments 10, 12 years ago and still haven't seen anything. So the ground's a little bit rough for that. There's some kind of a confidence rebuilding needed.
Yep. I see a lot of opportunity in community scale, which would be a great proving ground. So for remote energy and secure communities, in particular, who are located near water. Yeah.
Though even with that one, talking to NGOs who run like SIDS and island stuff, they've seen the play before, and the questions they're having are creation of local capability. They've run into the problem where after a year after install, stuff breaks. There's no supply chain for spare parts, and there's no technical knowledge on how to maintain. So even those guys are a little shy. So I think the putting together of good pilots that address those issues, it's critical if we're going to bring these technologies out into the world, because we've had stub toes on grid scale, and there've been a lot of stub toes on small island and remote community stuff at this point in time.
Yeah, I think if you can work with community, just like you said, you need to incorporate commercialization throughout the life of the development cycle. Working with your stakeholders is part of that, incorporating their needs and anticipating what might be happening for them in the future.
Yeah, I'm headed to a a small island conference, small island coastal community conference in a few weeks. And yeah, specifically to, dive deeper into that particular topic, because they want local capacity building. They want solutions that are going to have a good supply chain and good technical background, something that's going to last. And then potentially they can go to like the World Bank and, those type of folks to fund those things. But, they have to have a lot of higher confidence level at this point.
Right.
I
like
think we
talking about
have a
this.
question in the chat.
Oh, great. Thanks, Cynthia.
Be transparent about why. Transparent to who? To Poet or DOE? Oh yeah, I mean, to me, when you pivot and you have a reason for it, that's just showing you're knowing your market better. Co-located energy generation by the data centers. Yeah, I think with that you're going to have the same issue you have with the offshore grid stuff. I mean, before somebody's going to make a large capital investment in a data center, they're going to want to see some engineering data that talks to the longevity of the power supply. So I think we're still in the same thing of needing, willing pilots and small scale to build enough of that data that somebody who's putting together a large data center would build that into their planning with confidence that it's going to last and not, die out on them 5 years into it. Whereas, say something like offshore wind, I mean, that's a 25, 30 year planned life cycle. Think of that's the kind of life cycle some of these folks are looking for, reasonable expectations and having the data to prove that. Yes, let's see, regulatory landscapes. Yeah, we're pretty involved with at least Virginia's Department of Energy on this type of stuff, though that's flipped back and forth a couple of times with changes in governors. They're trying to do some better fast tracking on things like solar within the state of Virginia. But yeah, I'm involved in Virginia's Ocean Planning Committee. I deal with the Department of Energy just as part of some of the working groups. But they're thinking of those things. Are they in place yet? No. It would have to go through regulatory or legislative processes. Yeah, and the other thing I'd add in there, and you have the kind of the example when you're talking about it's like unmanned aerial vehicles or one of those problems. Sometimes if you're building a business case that's dependent upon a regulatory change, that could be a risky road. My background is I used to be a Coast Guard officer. I've enforced regulations, I've written regulations, I've taught regulations. It could be a slow process.
Jerry, good presentation. Thank you. One of the problems that we early developers have, given the cost of our technology early on, is unlike what Europe has with contracts for difference and feed-in tariffs, like they have in Canada. That's part of the problem why there's a dearth of pilot projects in the US, is how do we offset the cost for early technologies that we're providing the power to an end user?
Yeah, and you hit part of the thing on the head. Current climate, that's gotten very, very hard in the US. What I see some people going towards is finding things that you can claim are dual use, which means there's a military use and a civilian use from, and going to like the tech bridges or what used to be Naval X, Office of Naval Research, and trying to get some funding from those things. Depending on the scale of the funding required, some of that new NOAA data accelerator program that came out, and you got folks involved in stuff. So those programs have non-dilutive capital that's available. And then kind of a wild thing, I know some of the reverse situations. I'm working with a hydrogen battery company around this, but the notion of teaming up with a European partner, these these are all global issues. So, perhaps teaming up with a European partner and then tapping into some of the EU funds that are going specifically for that. Folks like Portugal and Ireland are pretty heavy into that, as is Norway and those places. And the fair play to them is a lot of those folks are looking to eventually get into the US market. So, it's gotten harder.
These are all good questions. I do need to move along to the next presenter, but if you have further questions, we'll have time at the end as well. Jerry, thanks so much for your presentation and your thoughts. Next up, we have Tom Pavilon from Yet2. Tom, are you ready to roll?
I am. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Tom Pavilon. I'm a strategic account manager here at Yet2. We're located in the Boston area, which is where I'm located. We're 27-year-old open innovation tech scouting commercialization consulting firm. We provide services to Fortune 1000 companies, government agencies, and startups in industries across a broad spectrum, from consumer products to outer space, including a good bit of work in the sustainability world. We're a global firm of about 35 with offices in North America, Europe, and Asia. And a good number of us donate a bit of our time to mentoring startups in the accelerators and incubators focused on sustainability. I'm involved in a couple here in the Boston area. The Clean Tech Open and the Ocean Exchange are a couple of them. So core to what Yet2 does is our ability to uncover non-public, non-confidential data. We get asked a lot these days about AI, and while we leverage the power of AI, we recognize its limitations and continue to take a human-centric approach to obtain insights by speaking directly with players in the value chain. One of the things that we focus on is getting clients to deal and impact. And as a result, we understand the nuances of deal making between large and small companies and annually oversee several dozen deals for our clients. This work is informed by the wide variety of work that we do, from commercialization to scouting to open innovation, business process improvement. Our experience with large companies provides us a unique perspective on the commercialization challenges of startups and entrepreneurs. Over our 27-year history, we've built a database of more than 5 million solution providers and have created and built 10 robust networks, from incubators and accelerators to experts and tollers. Being global and being small, we rely quite a bit on partners, and we have the ability to engage local resources almost anywhere in the world to support the work that we do for our clients. And you can see on that map, anywhere blue, we can put boots on the ground, and anywhere gray are areas where we have the ability to still grow, but also to identify potential partners in a rather quick way. So that's a bit about Yet2. I wanted to share a bit about what we do with regard to commercialization. Our commercialization offering is really built around our experience with large companies. This approach has really supported, I think, a unique perspective on how to help startups engage with strategic partners. We've facilitated more than 40,000 introductions between large and small companies, and have learned as a result of this that building trust, and I heard that mentioned earlier, which I think is really key. Building trust is important in winning valuable engagements between parties. Our approach is further informed by the work that we do with our sister arm, venture capital firm Chartline Capital Partners, where we participate in strategy setting and business development for our portfolio companies. So we work with our clients to articulate their comparative value proposition, or what we call CVP. CVP is quantified description of the performance and cost benefits provided by the offering against other competitive offsets. We find quite a bit that people will like to talk about value propositions in qualitative terms, which is easy to do. It's moving from general hand-waving description of what you're better at to actually putting pen to paper and coming up with a quantitative basis for your performance improvement. This quantitative format allows not only you to understand the benefits that you bring to the market, but allows you to effectively communicate to others what you're able to do for them. This work that we do around CVP is a cornerstone to our commercialization work, and is something that we spend an awful lot of time on upfront to ensure that a story can hold together when our clients start talking to potential partners. And then we take the CVP to market to determine if the need you intend to address is in fact a strong enough fit that customers would be interested in making a change. I heard somebody last week say, your solution is either a vitamin or a painkiller. And you think about it, a painkiller is something that you take when there is need to alleviate discomfort, and a vitamin is something that you take to simply make sure that your health is sustained over a period of time. We're trying to identify a CVP that meets an unmet market need that equates to a painkiller. Our VOC work then provides a basis for decision making. Is further investment warranted in the identified product market match that you're working from, or if you need to shift to another unmet need in the market, or if the technology just doesn't have legs and should be abandoned. Something else that we often hear is we can't get anyone in the market to speak with us. And what we bring to the table is an ability to engage our networks to find either within those networks or beyond, based on relationships that those in our network have, to identify market players and convince them to spend some time to understand what you are looking to do against unmet needs that they have, in order to get the feedback on your technology that's really critical to understanding whether or not it's worth continuing down the path that you've chosen. When you identify that right fit, we'll work with you. We'll work with our clients to strategize and manage the negotiation process until both parties are comfortable being able to pursue that on their own. Sometimes clients will kick us out very early in that process. Other times, we'll stay with clients all the way across the finish line. Importantly, we mentor startups to prepare them to engage with strategic partners. This includes market understanding, engaging large company suppliers and customers, and providing insights on how to work with investors as well. I wanted to share a little bit about work we've done in marine energy and sustainability. The first two projects you see here were prize challenges that we did with the American Made Network, where we were responsible for recruiting applicants, getting those recruiting potential applicants and turning the potential applicants into submissions, and then providing applicant support as the challenge moved forward. The last three on this this slide were projects that we did for large company clients, in particular both commercial and government. You can see the buoyless underwater object location marking was a project we did with NOAA. These projects were framed from the standpoint of the large company needing to identify partners to address specific needs that they had. We identified potential partners. We engaged a select, highly interesting few with our clients, facilitated those introductions, built trust, and worked with both parties in all three cases to move the conversations forward. I won't spend any time here. These are just examples of work that we've done over the years in sustainability. It's very interesting. Starting 2016, 2017, sustainability started to become something top of mind for our clients. That has shifted over the course of the last 12, 18, 24 months from big interest in sustainability. While it's still there, the world of AI and machine learning has really taken its place. One of the things that we hang our hats on is our perspective that we bring to the table across a wide variety of applications and markets. Gives us the ability to explore suitable alternative applications to solve problems for our clients that go beyond just the market space that they might be familiar with. And then finally, we talk a lot about bringing our clients to impact. This is simply a representative sample of the connections that we've made between large companies and startups, researchers, and other organizations to create partnerships to address problems in the marketplace. That's it. Happy to take any questions that folks might have, or hold off until the end.
Again, feel free to raise your hand. I can enable your mic or use the chat if you prefer. We are right on time currently. I think, oh, here we go. Skylar had a question.
And let me see.
Does Yet2 have open applications?
We don't work from an application standpoint. From the TEAMER perspective, I'm not an expert yet. We haven't worked with anyone since we've been nominated or selected to participate. But I think it's when the cohorts open within TEAMER, if organizations are interested in working with us, they just reach out. Aaron, you might be able to provide better background on that.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, TEAMER offers windows for applying for support. Currently, we are in Request for Technical Support 18. That's RFTS 18, and it is open through June 5th of this year. So just under 2 months to apply, which should be plenty of time, even starting now. If you haven't started at all yet, you should have time to connect with a facility in our network to find one that meets the capabilities you're looking to apply for support for, and then start a conversation. Points of contact are listed in each facility entry on our website. I will put, Cynthia, actually, would you put in the link to Yet2's facility page into the chat? That will let you
Okay.
visit Yet2's or any other facility using the search function on the TEAMER website. We do have another announced RFTS window that will be RFTS 19, open through, I believe, October 2nd. Thanks, Skylar. And thanks, Tom. Appreciate your talk. The takeaways I have are connections, making sure you can connect people, and you making sure you're surrounded by people who can help you move forward, and the capability of either calling you in for just a specific need or being a partner through your development. And that is something that TEAMER encourages, is this iterative development, whether it's taking you from numerical modeling with your device through all the way through to open water testing of a more viable product. But it's something that we've seen companies come to us multiple times over the years and advance each time, learn more through the support. So thanks again, Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Next up, Cameron Fisher from Environmental Science Associates. Cameron has been involved with the TEAMER program for a long time now, but I'll let him talk about what Environmental Science Associates and they can do for you on the commercialization aspect.
Thanks very much. Let me share my screen and see how we get going. Okay. A little bit about me before I get into ESA or Environmental Science Associates. I'm the Director of Marine Infrastructure for ESA. I came to ESA about a year ago. Prior to that, I had a company called 48 North Solutions, and we were a mighty team of 6 at the time. And then ESA made an offer I couldn't refuse, and so I became ESA as of March 2025, which means that I went from a company of 6 to over 750 nationwide, which is pretty awesome. ESA now, it's an employee-owned company, and we are headquartered in California, in San Francisco, which is pretty awesome because as 48 North Solutions, I tried to avoid working in California, and I'll get to that why. But now I have an amazing team throughout the multiple offices in California and the Southeast. Environmental Science Associates, we are regulatory specialists, both in the terrestrial and marine environment. Our team of 750 plus made up of NEPA planners, planners in general from a state permitting standpoint, marine archaeologists, marine biologists, and we work, our offices are primarily West Coast and the Southeast, but my role as the Director of Marine Infrastructure, we have projects Alaska, Hawaii, East Coast, Florida, down all over the West Coast as well. So pretty awesome in that sense. So lot of capabilities. So coming from 48 North into ESA, as 48 North, we built up a pretty strong reputation in the marine environment to get through the regulatory processes of marine infrastructure in general, subsea cables, power, fiber, offshore wind, and marine energy. And I have the picture here, the Cal Seawave deployment in Washington. This is one of my first projects back in 2010 in the Puget Sound in Washington State. But from that, was able to expand, and we've obviously, as you can see, working all throughout the West Coast, Hawaii, and parts of the East Coast with the marine energy sector. And then the subsea fiber cable, we could expand further up into the Northeast region, and offshore wind up into that region as well. For marine energy areas, we work a lot with the universities, University of Washington, Cal Poly, FAU, University of Alaska, Fairbanks, University of Hawaii, and then national labs, NREL, PNNL, and the likes. Sea Power, early stage developers, is a really good example there. A lot of Navy-funded projects. XWIC has supported a number of projects, as well as DOE, and then TEAMER-funded projects. And so, as a TEAMER facility, so a lot of experience over a lot of years. What are we? Going back to our regulatory expertise, we are the navigators of the regulatory process. We carry very sharp scissors for a lot of red tape, is what I would describe it. An example of that is here in Oregon. Well, I'm sorry, I'm based in Washington, but down in Oregon, you can see from this description here, the number of agencies involved with just, this is for a subsea cable, but you've got federal, state, and local all clamoring, and the overlaps there. So it can get confusing after a while. So yeah, I like to think we're navigating through the process. So what do we, as ESA, provide clients? Really, we from the very start through to the installation of a system. So feasibility studies, you know, what are the regulatory requirements that you may need to address when approaching deployment in the marine environment? Who do you need to talk to? Not just the agencies. There may be fishermen, there may be tribes, other users of the commons. Then we proceed through the regulatory environment, and that could be anything from DOE funding, so your National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA. If you're in California, why I avoid it is CEQA, which is the California Environmental Quality Act. I've now got some amazing specialists on team that can help me navigate that. Coastal Zone Management Act. Many of the states, excluding Alaska, abide by that. The other ESA, Endangered Species Act, that's a big deal, especially on the West Coast. Not so when you have issues on the East Coast, admittedly. Section 106, that's cultural resources. So the list goes on, and as the list gets bigger, so do the number of acronyms. So in support of those efforts, or those acts and those permitting processes, ESA then has biologists or archaeologists or outreach specialists that help go through that navigation of the regulatory environment. So how do we approach this? Couple of steps there. I put them into three primary buckets. We work with our clients to clearly define what your approach is, what you want to do when you go and deploy, because it's all about a story. And so we want to make sure that your story is crystal clear to an agency, or to a stakeholder, or a tribe, or whoever else is in the commons and is overseeing your system. if you're going to a designated location, say WETS, the Wave Energy Test Site in Hawaii, much easier to proceed through because it's a designated area. So you just need to understand, working with that group, what you want to achieve. Then we want to look at what could happen, worst case scenario, to the environment with your deployment. And so we want to assess those impacts. And it was related to endangered species. Are there whales swimming by, fish that are enlisted under the Endangered Species Act, maybe? And so how that works. And then working closely with the applicant, TEAMER, DOE, making sure that you've got everything in hand to make a successful deployment achievable. So, and then in some situations during the deployment, do you need support there? It could be protective species observer, a marine mammal observer, something like that. So we can support through that whole process, so from that feasibility through the implementation. So that's kind of ESA, and I'll stop my sharing there. Pretty high level conversation, but unfortunately regulatory processes is not too sexy a subject, but it's instrumental when deploying something in the marine environment. So Aaron, pass it back to you.
Thanks, Cameron. Yeah, it may not be sexy, but it can make or break a project. So
Yes,
this is very important. Yeah. Yeah, we'll take some questions. Let's see. I see a hand up. Trey, let me enable your mic again.
Cameron, thank you so much. That's really informative. Given the current administration, do you see changes in permitting and regulations lightening up or becoming more streamlined?
Trey, that's a really good question. Yes and no. And what I mean by that is yes, in the sense that NEPA regulations are starting to change to be a little bit more streamlined. I doubt under this administration you'll see any species being listed, new species being listed under the Endangered Species Act. So from that side, absolutely. No, and that's more about the Doge effect. We're seeing a large number of federal employees, really quality employees, taking early retirement and not being replaced, or if they're being replaced by early career staff. So that is slowing down the review process at the federal level. So yes and no on your question, unfortunately.
Thank you, Cameron.
Yeah, we've seen some of the effects of that as well. In particular, over last summer, we had quite a few delays on our NEPA approvals. We have seen some more movement lately as the smaller team or the new people on the team have gotten to know TEAMER better. And so that we've seen a little bit more movement lately. I'm not an expert in this field, but
no, you're right, Aaron, and but we're starting to we see that across the board. If it's National Marine Fisheries Service, the Army Corps, DOE, there are a large number of good people retiring early or leaving, and so it has slowed down the review process and causing a bit of backlog, depending on the agency you're working with.
Any other questions for Cameron? Cameron, will you be able to stay on for the Q&A at the end?
Yeah, well, thank you.
Well, we might have more questions for you then. I saw Devin had covered David's question, but I wanted to address it as well for anyone else who hadn't seen it. If there is anyone here who had applied for support in RFTS 17, we are working our way through a record number of applications. It almost doubled our previous record with the addition of the commercialization category. So we are working hard at that and hope to have notifications out to applicants by May 4th at the latest, as Devin said. Next up, last but not least, Jesse Flanagan from VentureWell. Jesse, are you ready to roll?
I think I am. Can you see my screen, Aaron?
Yes, I can. You look great. You sound great.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
And thanks everyone for hanging on until the end. My name is Jesse Flanagan. I am Director of Global Venture Programs with VentureWell. VentureWell is a nonprofit organization that's been supporting early stage science and technology entrepreneurs for the last 30 years. We work at the intersection of science and entrepreneurship across 3 verticals. Those are commercialization, where we leverage a very large network of technical experts and services to bring new science to market. Our venture development supports, which consist of accelerator programs, incubation programs, coaching and mentoring, investment readiness support, targeted at more of a startup audience, and kind of broad support for innovation ecosystems. This looks like administration of large-scale programming for folks like NSF, and lots of programming and support in higher education ecosystems, convenings, communities of practice, etc. And we've been around for about 30 years, have trained many individuals, startups, higher education leaders who have gone on to raise about 7.3 billion in early stage funding. And we operate programs primarily in the US, but also all over the world. A few programs that I'd like to highlight for you to kind of point to our perspective. We are administrators for the National Science Foundation's National I-Corps program, which supports early stage research commercialization. I think that program has been with VentureWell for a long time and informs the way that we think about and approach commercialization and customer discovery. We are also a designer and implementer of VentureWell's Ocean Enterprise Accelerator, which has been funded by NOAA. And we support a large number of ocean technology teams and commercialization of ocean technologies. More about that in a few slides. And lastly, I'll highlight our work with WPTO as we support the creation of innovative hydropower and marine energy businesses. So our work is not exclusively blue economy, but we do have quite a lot of work in that area. And I think our network and expertise reflects the work that we do in blue economy. I'll point you to our VentureWell accelerators, which we've been managing for since VentureWell has been in existence. A 4-stage acceleration program that supports science founders from business model kind of definition, validation, the beginnings of operations, and all the way through to investment readiness. We've seen 838, to be exact, startups come through those programs, a large number of investments, and leverage a big network of investors. I think the thing that differentiates our programs from others is the participation of kind of investors and industry mentors in our programs. When you participate, you'll see 5 or more investors on every call, offering their perspectives, guidance, feedback on materials. Our work with WPTO, as I mentioned, is intended to support the formation of marine energy and hydropower businesses. Work that we're doing right now is landscape analysis and gap assessment. We're meeting with a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of industry representatives who can speak to the needs of industry. We've proposed and budgeted for an acceleration program targeting these entrepreneurs. So again, I think our programs reflect our understanding of this space and hopefully future work to come and future opportunities to come for hydropower entrepreneurs. And then lastly, and possibly most relevant, I'll point you to our Ocean Enterprise Accelerator, which is funded by NOAA. This has been operational for less than 2 years. We've seen 65 companies come through for non-dilutive funding, for pilot design and support, mentor engagement, and kind of broad acceleration programming. I would encourage any startups on the call to check out our cohorts here on VentureWell's website. We are constantly recruiting for the next cohorts. This program will be running for a little more than 2 additional years into the future. So yeah, that is our Oceans work. Some examples from Ocean Enterprise Accelerator cohorts that I think overlap with TEAMER's areas of focus. Sitkana, modular energy systems for coastal communities, drift marine, self-sustaining and self-propelled ocean surface drifters, and other technologies. But VentureWell's team and network certainly has experience working with and supporting commercialization for like startups. Now moving into the part of the presentation where I'll talk specifically about our work and opportunities with TEAMER. We are looking to work with founders of technologies between TRLs 3 and 8. It's a fairly wide range, but we see ourselves right in that valley of death where startups often struggle to do the translation work of lab into market. We're looking for researchers that need some orientation to commercialization process. We work with a lot of technical founders who are new to building a business. We also do a lot of work with founders who are kind of developing pilots, seeking product market fit, refining their product roadmaps to align very specifically with the technical requirements of their customers. We know that customer discovery and customer conversations are essential to product development throughout that entire journey of TRL 1 through 9. And lastly, we work with founders preparing to seek investment. Our latest stage acceleration program targets entrepreneurs that are 6 months away or less from starting conversations with private investors. I'll talk briefly about our TEAMER facility capabilities. You can think about this as our menu for kind of TEAMER interested enterprises. We offer an orientation to venture development, commercialization, discovery, and product road mapping work. We can support your investment readiness and pitch deck refinement, the preparation of your deal room, and we can conduct due diligence and prepare you for due diligence as you begin to have your investor conversations. A bit more about those here. Lots of text on my slide, forgive me. I will work through this in enough time to leave space for questions. Our orientation for venture development, think about this as a customizable entryway for researchers who are beginning to think about business. This comes with kind of VentureWell training, all of our condensed acceleration curriculum and perspective, customized coaching from both mentors and investors, and access to our tools and templates for beginning that journey. We offer our commercialization, discovery, and road mapping, product road mapping support. I'm just going to skip ahead and then I'll come back. We have observed that many technical founders develop technologies that are just slightly out of step with operational and commercial must-haves. That the KPIs you need for the workshop and the lab are not always the same KPIs, requirements, monitoring, performance, technical decisions, technical process that customers require. And so we do kind of deep dives into technology development process and market alignment to uncover specific areas where startups need more alignment with their customer context. The chart you see on the right-hand side reflects some of that assessment and is built into a lot of the work that we do in commercialization, discovery, and road mapping. So we'll help you look at, how are you aligned and misaligned with your customers, their expectations, some of their regulatory needs, and offer coaching and deliverable refinement to help your roadmap meet your customer expectations. Investment readiness, we offer support as you develop and refine your pitch deck, you tell your story for tailored audiences, technical, non-technical investor perspective. We'll help you refine your financial milestones so that they, again, align with expectations of investors and customers, help you refine your financial models that you'll need both for internal and external needs. Integrate your product roadmap and align with targeted investors. A similar offering, our deal room readiness will help you look through your deal room and provide some industry perspective, investor perspective, and kind of an audit of all of the materials that you'll need to present to an investor eventually. This includes your kind of a comprehensive review of your deal room, your financial model, pitch decks, roadmaps, etc. We'll offer templates where they are available, but we don't believe in templates for kind of every part of your deal room, particularly the financial models. I think should reflect your specific business, but we will kind of audit, provide multiple rounds of feedback, and get that into working shape for investors. And then lastly, I think for startups that are already in conversation with or close to a conversation with investors, we can conduct due diligence. VentureWell makes investments out of its, well, we make investments and have a capacity to conduct due diligence with that investor perspective. We aren't looking to make investments in companies that come through our TEAMER facility, but we can offer that perspective with a full review, comprehensive analysis, and provide you a memo that identifies kind of gaps and opportunities as if we were an investor. I think that's just about taken me to time. Thank you for your time and attention, and yeah, any questions?
Thank you, Jesse. There was one question in the chat. I answered it a bit from TEAMER's perspective, but from David Meng, does VentureWell have recent information regarding H2O, CMEI versus WPTO roles, responsibilities, etc.? I mentioned that the people we work with there and our operations have not changed despite the name change. Whether that remains to be the case remains to be seen, but for now, there are no changes on our side. Anything for you to add from VentureWell's perspective?
No, from our knowledge, the only thing that, well, we're only aware of the name change, and we weren't going to incorporate that name change until it flows through a few more materials. But no, Aaron, I think you covered it more comprehensively than I could.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I see a hand from Trey.
Okay, you should be able to speak, I believe, Trey. Give it a try now.
Thanks. Jesse, thank you. That was very informative. Earlier in your presentation, you had mentioned you do work globally. Does that mean to say that you have offices in the markets, or you just from here you understand the markets in which we might be dealing?
Yeah, so we don't have offices outside of the US. We work with a number of global funders of innovation across sectors, and often see cohorts of international entrepreneurs. We don't have particular market perspective. We'll have some familiarity with global markets, but there's no kind of country or region where we have a special perspective.
We've covered a lot of interesting things and a wide range of capabilities as well from our commercialization facilities. It's nice to know that TEAMER support can help cover you from the very beginning all the way through getting actual steel in the water, as the saying goes. Trey, did you have another question?
Did, yes. This is such a good overall. It was just excellent. So thank you very much, Aaron, for all these presentations. My question is, can working with any number of these be stacked? In other words, can an entity work with 3 or 4 TEAMER partners, or do you have to pick one?
That's a good question. Yeah, different facilities do offer different capabilities at times. We offer the opportunity to work with up to, I believe, at the moment, 3 facilities, but on a there must be good justification for that in the application, because as you might guess, the more facilities involved and the more people involved, the greater the chance for a project to lose focus. And TEAMER is meant for very highly focused support activities. The better option might be, if it's not super highly focused and you just have a lot to do, is to plan out multiple applications, either within the same RFTS, each with a facility that can focus exactly on a particular task, or iteratively from one RFTS to the next. As I mentioned earlier, we have our upcoming round, application round, RFTS 18, open through June 5th. And then we have a follow-up, RFTS 19, open through October. So it's a bit of a tight time frame to say, I'm going to use what I learned in RFTS 18, turn it around, and use that in RFTS 19. But if there are, we're hoping for more rounds after RFTS 19, funding, permitting. Yeah, so there are options. There are options, and we have approved applications from the same applicant, multiple applications in the same round, and we've approved applications from the same applicant across multiple rounds iteratively. So either one is a good way to do it.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll just jump in and say that actually Devin just put it in the chat, but basically you have to make a really good rationale for why a project needs to have multiple facilities working together and why they can't be broken into separate sub-projects. But also, if you do want to move forward with a multi-facility application, you have to really provide information around the logistics of the communication that's going to happen, to make sure that there is proper communication to, as Aaron said, keep focus on the project and on the objectives.
Thanks, Sam. Good points. Any other final questions? We did cover a lot of questions during the presentations, which were really good questions. So thanks for those. Thank you very much, Cameron. Thank you, all of our presenters, for your time and your sharing your expertise and ways you can help applicants to the TEAMER program and commercialization support. Yeah, thanks to John, June, and Robert for your flexibility from Factor, Jerry from OpenSeas, Tom from Yet2, Cameron Fisher from Environmental Science Associates, and Jesse and Danny from VentureWell. And thank you to all of our attendees. If there's no other questions, you'll be able to find this recording on the TEAMER website in the archive of the event, which I'm going to paste into the chat here, along with links to all of the facilities who've presented today, links to their TEAMER facility pages, and information on their presenters. So thanks very much, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see some applications from some of you in June.